Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
The X app might go down, and Bob Iger is among the ones to blame. Recently, Elon Musk lost his calm on all the companies who were pulling their ads from the X app. Because, let's face it, the platform would not be able to survive without these ads. But guess what? He especially targeted Bob Iger in front of the entire crowd. This came right after Musk apologized for an earlier tweet he labeled as the dumbest thing he ever posted. And even though he backed it up with sound logic, the apology wasn't enough, and companies are standing firm on their stance to break away from X. But what exactly happened? The controversy began on November 15th when Musk agreed with a post suggesting Jewish people were fueling animosity towards white individuals. He defended the user's reference to a conspiracy theory, arguing it held the actual truth. During a chat with Andrew Ross Sorkin, Musk expressed regret over the controversial post, calling it foolish and the worst among the 30,000 he's ever shared. Despite multiple attempts to clarify, he admitted it might have been misconstrued. But he still defended himself, asserting his support for the Jewish community rather than any anti-Semitic stance. For some people, though, things were beyond the point of repair, and Bob Iger was one of the first ones to put a stop to their partnership. He talked about why they pulled the plug on advertising with Elon Musk's X, and it was all because of Musk's agreement to the anti-Semitic post. In his words, he didn't want Disney to be associated with a platform backed by a controversial figure like Musk. Now, don't get him wrong. Iger gave props to Musk for his accomplishments and that larger-than-life persona of his. He's got a lot of respect for what Elon's achieved, but he knows Musk's name is practically glued to the companies he's built or owns. Iger explained they weren't feeling too hot about being linked to Musk's very public stance, so they decided to cut ties on the advertising front. But none of this comes without some heavy consequences. According to reports, X might be looking at a hefty loss, around $75 million in ad revenue by the year's end, all thanks to this whole mess. Seems like a lot of big players are giving X the cold shoulder.
I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to...
Companies like Comcast, Lionsgate, Disney, Paramount, NBC Universal, and Warner Bros. Discovery all decided to yank their ads from the platform. The issue was that by paying X to display their ads, they were indirectly supporting Musk's stance. And here's the truth. Even if they aligned with his stance, they were too cowardly to come into the public spotlight with it. But what had to be done was done, but Musk wasn't exactly happy about it. So at the New York Times event, Elon Musk didn't mince words, essentially telling these companies to not even bother considering a return. He strongly implied that their actions might lead to his social media company's downfall. Musk unleashed his frustration, bluntly stating that if someone wants to use advertising to blackmail him with money, they can get lost. Now, things didn't end there. Until this point, it felt like he was targeting all the companies, generally. But then he ended his speech with "Hi, Bob," in a direct reference to Bob Iger, leaving both Sorkin and the audience visibly shaken.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go yourself.
But
Go yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Nobody had expected Musk to have such a public grudge against the CEO of Walt Disney, but it appears that Musk didn't want to hold back. Expressing his sheer frustration, Musk called out those who prioritize their image over doing the right thing as people who care about looking good while doing evil. The bold statement was made even more impactful as the new CEO of X, Linda Yaccarino, was among those present during Musk's declaration, effectively signaling their unwelcome status on the platform. But do you think Musk was done here? Of course not. He took to X to talk more about his sentiments about Disney, and he wasn't holding back. He threw shade at Disney's upcoming content, labeling it unwatchable, and branding the company as the epitome of go woke, go broke. This particular phrase has been circulating as a critique of Disney, even finding resonance in the words of Ron DeSantis. What's intriguing here is the stark contrast between Musk's critique and Disney's Bob Iger, who has time and again emphasized a reluctance to dive into political matters. But the buzz around Disney's recent endeavors, often deemed as embracing a more politically infused narrative, has been a subject of discussion. Pixar's release, Turning Red, became a focal point of controversy, with opinions divided over its willingness to explore more mature themes compared to the beloved classics like Toy Story or Monsters, Inc. While the political discourse hasn't affected Disney's revenue yet, it seems like they're going toward a huge loss if they remain on the same woke path. For now, their theme parks will continue to serve as cash-generating machines, contributing immensely to the company's profits. Iger prefers to stay away from politics, but when Musk addressed him in public, he didn't have many choices. He had to go out there and defend not only himself, but Disney. Musk's allegations landed him on thin ice, with so many people already agreeing with the woke Disney narrative. So how did Iger respond? As the top gun at Disney, he's all about keeping things wide open, not looking to ruffle feathers that could shrink the company's audience. But when it comes to defending Disney, Bob has to take the stage. Take that tussle with Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis over control of Disney World's land because of that Don't Say Gay bill. When the company took a stand against this rule, things got heated. At that time, DeSantis made the first move by snatching Reedy Creek away from Disney. But Bob didn't sit back and let things slide. Iger confidently said that the takeover was payback for speaking up. To him, that was against free speech, and a big no-no for American values and businesses. So when Elon Musk came into the picture, Bob tried his hand at the defense game once again. At the New York Times DealBook Summit, he said that Disney's not scared to speak out on politics when it's good for business. While he's not picking fights, he's surely not shying away from defending Disney's stance, which is to not get tangled up in controversial political ideologies. Later on, Iger chatted it up with Andrew Ross Sorkin, and they surely covered some ground. They dove into Disney's clashes, those woke characters in their flicks, and the feuds with DeSantis.
What we've discovered in this process, which has been unbelievably rigorous at the company and involves a number of executives who are managing those businesses, we've determined a few things. One, that they can be run more efficiently. With some difficult choices. You mentioned cutting over $7 billion in costs. We can do that. Second, they can be run in partnership with those businesses that sit atop the new business model, which is streaming. And there are means of aggregating audience, of amortizing cost, of basically aggregating audience, reaching more and different people.
Sorkin mentioned how flags were waving outside Disney World, including swastikas, DeSantis flags, and anti-gay ones. He said that all of these were pretty unwarranted, especially because families were just trying to enjoy the park. He wanted to know how Disney deals with that madness in today's super divided world, and Iger didn't hesitate before clarifying Disney's content mission. Before anything else, Disney is all about entertainment, except for ABC News, which handles the whole informing sector. But Iger also didn't shy away from noting that some creators might have gotten a bit sidetracked, forgetting that entertainment's supposed to be at the center of Disney's business. They're supposed to entertain, and if they sprinkle in some positive messages that make the world better, that's great. But in the end, that's never the main goal. He gave props to Black Panther and Coco for nailing that sweet spot. Not only were they entertaining, but they also made everyone think about acceptance and inclusivity. And while many people would disagree with that, Iger thinks they're on the right track. So how exactly does the Walt Disney CEO define his stance? Iger laid it out for the entire world to know where he stands politically. When it comes to taking stances, it's not just about politics. It's about what's right and wrong for the company, its people, and its shareholders. When it comes to events unfolding around the world or political movements, he has to consider if it's something that matters to the company and the people involved in it. If it doesn't, then it doesn't have to take a stage in their representation game. For him, things are clear. Take the environment, for instance. They care about the planet's health because if Earth's not in good shape, nobody would be hitting up those theme parks. I mean, how do you even enjoy yourself if you can't breathe? That's practically impossible. Iger is no stranger to the fact that anti-Semitism is a serious issue, and getting associated with a person who might get labeled anti-Semitic means even more issues forming for Disney. So for now, he's going to take a backseat. On the other hand, Musk is out with his guns, blaming advertisers for being the cause of X's imminent downfall. And from the looks of it, this guy has every right to be pissed. Do you think that Musk has the right to be mad? Let us know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to subscribe for more.